Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Janet Holborow, who is our next guest here on Beach FM. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, John.
Paekakariki News, sponsored by mulled wine, and I'm sure we both agree that Mary Gao is one of the great taonga, not only of Paekakariki, but of this little nation. She's very special, isn't she?
Yes, absolutely. She puts on wonderful concerts of international standards, so lucky to have those musicians coming to our little village and playing in our wonderful memorial hall. She works really hard on those, so yeah, it's wonderful.
It is wonderful, and this little village that you've referred to, isn't it amazing how consistently it plays way above its weight, or pulls way above its weight? It's just amazing the contribution it makes, not only to its own endeavours and social well-being and all that kind of thing, but to the entire region, because people flock to places like St Peter's, don't they?
Yes, absolutely. We've got Reb Fountain playing on the weekends by Barry Saunders, among others. So absolutely amazing. We had a lovely little gig last weekend too, which was Ebony Lamb and some friends of hers who are travelling around and doing festivals, and they did just a trial gig at the hall, and absolutely wonderful.
Now, Ebony is a local as well, isn't she?
Yes. She comes and goes a little bit. She spends some of the time over in the hut and some of the time here. So she's a kind of a part-time local. Oh,
well, okay. We'll adopt her anyway. We will adopt her. We love our Ebony.
Yes, she's a local. Yes.
And Reb is going to have a great concert as well. I've always had a lot of time for Reb Fountain.
Yes, award-winning and absolutely brilliant musicians. So it's incredible the quality of musicians we have coming through the hall.
Yes.
But I have to say, one of the most special occasions that has ever been at the hall was a couple of weeks ago when we celebrated Sir John Trimmer's 80th birthday. And it was an event that went on all afternoon. His sister Coral played the harmonica. She's a world-class harmonica player, and she played her first ever gig with local Gilbert Hazeman. And she's just moved over from Australia and is now a Paekakariki local as well. Ooh. And if you ever get the chance to hear those two play together, it is absolutely extraordinary. Sunny Amy also gave a little preview to her comedy stand-up routine that she's just developing, and that was really hilarious. And lots of other performers, just one after the other, all afternoon, paying tribute to our wonderful local taonga, John Trimmer.
I can just see the twinkle in John's eye.
It was just wonderful. There was a throne set up for him. and he presided over the whole occasion.
Oh, wonderful.
Absolutely wonderful. And Judith Hughes Dance came in with lots of their dancers as well and did a wonderful performance. So it was just an incredible afternoon.
Isn't that fantastic? And as you say, he is, once again, another one of the taonga that make Paekakariki such a special place. So what is coming up, Janet?
So we've got a busy Labour weekend coming up in Paekakariki. We've got the Pride Festival and March, which has been building over the last few years. We get inundated with colourful people, and all the locals join in the march, and I think we've got Batakuta coming as well.
Oh, wow.
The drumming and dancing kind of group, who are actually finalists in the regional airport community awards this year.
Wow.
There were volunteers running that group, and they're absolutely amazing. So they're probably going to come. I think last word was they're coming. And there's a disco and quiz night and all sorts of activities happening over that weekend. And on the Saturday, 10 to 1, I think it's on the Saturday, we have the annual biannual, I think now actually, plant sale. And that's run by the Potty Potters, who are also finalists in the regional community awards this year. So,
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But busy weekend, that's the Labour weekend, which is not this weekend coming up, but the following weekend. So that should be a really wonderful, colourful time as well.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
We might want to talk about our new community board.
Why not? And why don't we talk about Sophie as well? We had her on the radio yesterday, and isn't that exciting?
This is also, of course, as councillor and member of the community board. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I mean, Sophie's just been such an incredible presence in Paekakariki and in the region and nationally now too. So those of you who don't know Sophie, she's the national coordinator for the school strike for climate change. But she's always been a very up-and-coming kind of person. When she arrived at Kapiti College in Year 9, she was elected to the School Board of Trustees. So she ended up being head girl, and in between just did a plethora of different volunteer activities and roles, and was a real role model too for the younger students coming through. So she's an incredible young woman, and she has been elected the new Paekakariki Ward Councilor. So I'm now district-wide. I've moved to district-wide, and she's taken that place. Paekakariki Ramati, so really exciting, 18 years old. 18
years old, yes. We had her on the radio yesterday. It's interesting, I went to one or two meetings, and I talked to a lot of people who went to meetings, and as you say, she stood for the Paekakariki Ward. The number of people who said to me, "Oh, I wish I could vote for that young Sophie," who were in other wards, because she really seemed to strike a note, and I find that a very encouraging thing, and it means that democracy is still alive, and it's a system that we can be proud of and have to defend at all costs, and wonderful to see Sophie. Could I just ask you why you moved from ward to district-wide councillor, Janet?
Well, the main reason I moved was because I think it's really hard for new people to get elected district-wide. So you'll get a mixture of people who are standing for mayor and don't quite make it and get on district-wide, and we have two of those who got elected district-wide. And then we've got two incumbents, three incumbents altogether, Jackie Elliott and Angela Buswell and myself. And then the only other new person who got on who wasn't also running for mayor was Rob McCann, who of course had Labour affiliation. So it's a really hard space for new people to come on. I mean, it's not impossible, but I felt like I had a district-wide kind of presence and a district-wide kind of attitude, and I think the ward is a really good place for new energy and local energy to come on. So, and I also thought it would be nice to have an election that wasn't between incumbents and new people, but just all new people just having a debate about issues and people having a choice there.
Excellent thinking.
Yes.
Excellent. I can understand that.
It's paid off.
And it has, and it's wonderful to see. But do you think the responsibilities of a district-wide councillor are any different to a ward councillor when it comes down to the work?
Yes. So as a ward councillor, you do have to keep more of an eye on issues particular to your area. So of course, when you vote at the council table, you do have to take a district-wide perspective. The ward councillors also sit on the community boards, so you have a kind of deeper involvement in those really local issues. So that's a major difference. Right. I mean, there's not a huge amount of difference in terms of the workload and the kind of perspective you bring to it, but there is that kind of expectation that you're going to keep a particular eye on local issues when you're a ward councillor.
Indeed. Having mentioned community boards, tell us about the Paekakariki Community Board.
Yes, so we've got one member from the previous triennium who's carrying on, and that's Holly Ewins. She runs the website here, and she's been a very strong local presence for a long time in the community. And, of course, a musician and artist as well. We have Jess Hortop, who's a teacher at the school and a very well-known local person as well. Tina Pope, who runs the Potty Potters I was just talking about at the school, and an absolute powerhouse in the community.
Sure is.
So it's wonderful to have her on the board. And Dan O'Connell, who's been very active in the Paekakariki Community Trust. So a really high-powered, very experienced board, and really important to have that with some important issues coming up, like revocation of State Highway 1, the Wall, the Wainui Whenua Working Group, which is the Transmission Gully excess land piece of work that's going on. And of course, Sophie, as the ward councillor, sits on that board as well. So
Indeed.
Really fantastic board. Really pleased for all of them.
Just before we go, do you have a view on community boards? Should they stay or should they go?
Stay.
Okay, well, there it is. Nice and affirmative and positive. It's been lovely to talk to you, Janet. Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Wonderful, John. Thank you.
106.3 Beach FM.